Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. It looks like we've got plenty of people who have just been let in. I'm just going to let the attendees kind of settle down a bit, make sure we've got everyone who wants to be here. But if you want to have a look at our chat box, let us know where you're joining from. That would be great. Always lovely to see how many people we've got joining across the UK, or sometimes even from further afield, which I always love to see. So yeah, let us know where you're coming from. We've got our lovely Ben and Alina in the chat box today, so please let us know. Let's say hi to them if you would like. And I think it looks like the attendees are kind of plateauing a little bit, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Today we are on a webinar with some great guests, and the topic today is self-assessment, prep early, stress less, which is always a fun one to think about, as we all have clients that we know and love, but they're not always the best at getting everything in early. So that's what I want to do, is give you some tangible tips to walk away with today. So just a little bit of housekeeping. So today's session will be recorded. You will all be emailed with a recording of the webinar. We've got the chat box, and it's always lovely to see some discussion going on in there. You know, let us know where you're joining from, say hello to other people you might know. But we also have a Q&A box. So if you can use that for any specific questions about the topics we're talking about, then that'd be great. Just means we can keep track of all of those. So if there's something Ben or Alina don't answer as we go, then we can address those at the end. Please keep the chat positive and respectful. We always mention this one, but we were just saying before the webinar started, we don't often have rude people on our webinars. We're very lucky here at FreeAgent. We've got a lovely partner base. But we have had a couple of instances in the past where people have maybe not been as friendly as they could have been. So it's always nice to just remind everyone that we're all here to learn. So it'd be lovely if you can just keep that in mind. And there will be some polls throughout, as well as opportunities to have us follow up with you if you want us to get back in touch. So just keep an eye out for those as well. So before I get on to introducing our panelists, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview about FreeAgent. So we are award-winning accounting software, so we are kind of pride ourselves on an easy-to-use software, jargon-free, and we are also owned by NatWest. So we offer free licenses to anyone banking with NatWest, Royal Bank of Scotland, Ulster or Metal. We're HMRC recognised, MTD compatible. No one likes to hear those words, MTD, but we're starting to think about it again, so just want to point that out. And we've got a lovely support team. We just pride ourselves on being a really friendly bunch. So we've won Luca Awards past 2 or 3 years for being the friendliest software. So yeah, it's a little bit about us, but you'll have a chance to see the product later on. I'll do a demo right at the end. So if you've never seen the product before, stick around for that one. So I'm just going to kick off by asking if anyone does know that they want us to get back in touch with them after the webinar. If you go ahead and let us know if you would. There'll be other chances to answer this question, but just so that we can get an idea, if any of you would like us to get back in touch to chat about becoming a FreeAgent partner, then just go ahead and let us know. If not, you can just click no thanks, that's not a problem. You kind of click directly on the slide if that helps. And I'll just give everyone a chance to answer that. In case you know you might have to dip out early or anything like that, then that'd be great. Cool. Now, I will go ahead and introduce our panelists now that all that boring stuff's out of the way. So my name is Jem. I am the Practice Partnerships Consultant here at FreeAgent. So coming from an accounting not an accounting background, an account management background. I'm definitely not an accountant. And now I work with our product team, sales team, marketing team. And basically part of that is about improving our ecosystem, doing a bit of this kind of stuff, thought leadership, as well as, trying to improve our ecosystem. So working with integration partners to try and get things moving a bit. And yeah, that's me. Not too much else to say about myself. But I'm going to pass on to Caroline to go ahead and introduce herself, please. Hi, Caroline.
Hi everyone. I'm Caroline Boardman. I'm the owner of Caroline Boardman Consulting. I've had my practice for 6 years, just had our 6th birthday celebration, and I am a FreeAgent partner. I'm an accountant, obviously. I love FreeAgent. So just to do a little bit pitch for FreeAgent there, 98% of my clients are on FreeAgent, and we're working on the other 2%. And yeah, I've previously worked in practice and industry, but I have lots of experience doing self-assessments. So looking forward to sharing some tips with you today.
Thanks so much, Caroline. So lovely to have you here. And Jenna, if you want to take it away.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm Head of Client Services at Pillow May. We've also just celebrated a big birthday, so we've celebrated our 15th birthday, which is pretty cool. We're a FreeAgent partner, and we have about half of our clients using FreeAgent and the others using Xero.
Nice one. So funny that you both mentioned birthdays, because today is my birthday. So that's lovely. Birthdays all around. And Surya, do you want to go ahead and take it away now as well?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Surya. I am the Customer Success Lead at Capium. I've been at Capium for about 3 years now. Capium is sort of a software house. We partner with FreeAgent, and we offer like a full suite cloud accounting platform. And we have tailored solutions for accountants and their clients. Yeah, that's me.
Nice one. Yeah, so we actually have an integration with Capium. We've had an integration for a while on the tax filing side of things, which is lovely. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us today, Surya. So be good to kick off the webinar with a little bit of a poll, just to give us an idea of who we're working with today, what kind of attendees we've got. So if you want to let us know, when do you start getting your clients ready for self-assessment? It'd be lovely to know. Immediately after the previous January, a few months before the deadline, varies, the month before, or you can let us know in the chat box. But yeah, let us know, when do you start getting your clients ready for self-assessment? It's funny because like I say, I'm from an account management background, and I have to say across accounting practices, it really varies. Some people are really hot on it, and then others takes a long time. But yeah, it'd be good to hear. I'll give you another minute or so.
Can I answer this one?
Yeah, go on, Caroline. You absolutely can.
So April, like the 6th of April, I start getting everyone ready on it, because as much as you plan for January, it is always the busiest month. So I like to then have February and March not thinking about self-assessments, but absolutely from April I start.
Yeah, that's so fair. And the thing is, I guess it just varies so much between practices. It depends a lot on your workflow and what kind of, I don't know, I guess what processes you have in place, right? And that is what we're going to talk a bit more about today. So let's see. Varies depending on the client. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. But a lot of people who a few months before, immediately after the previous January. Okay, so a bit of a mixture here, which is always nice to see. It's just nice to kind of get an idea maybe for everyone else, what everyone else is working on. So let's go ahead and start off our panel discussion. So like I say, the topic of today's webinar is prep early, stress less. So I'm going to kick off with you, Jenna, if you don't mind. That prep early, stress less, what does that kind of mean to you in your practice?
Yeah, for us at Pillow May, it's all about kind of reducing the client's worry. I think it's safe to say that for most people, finances are a huge concern for them. And therefore, we want to try and kind of get ahead and make sure that, there are no nasty surprises and we're not doing anything too last minute for the majority of our clients. And even where we are having to do things later on in January, we're prepared for that, and we're telling them in advance that that's what we're doing. So kind of going back to what we were just saying, we always kind of let our clients know at the beginning of the tax year when we'll be preparing their self-assessment tax return. So even if we're not doing it straight away, they know when we're going to be asking them for their information, and that we've got it in hand.
Nice. Yeah, and I love that part about like reducing the client's worry, because it's not necessarily about only reducing your own stress. It's also about, obviously, your client, making sure that they're prepared. Surya, what do you think in terms of like software, that prep early, stress less? Obviously, I know that there's lots of software can do to help that, but any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think bringing your clients in to collaborate with you is one of the key elements. So if they are able to help you with certain amount of transactions, that could be helpful. Although I know accountants it doesn't always work out if you give your clients full access, so accountants still need to review everything that goes through. But having a collaborative space is quite a significant element to starting, especially for MTD coming up. I think it's really important that accountants have a collaborative space with their clients.
Yeah, for sure. Caroline, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I know that obviously you're a FreeAgent user and loves FreeAgent, but by the way, I've not told her to say that. We're definitely only a tiny bit biased here. But yeah, what's your thought on that kind of collaborative space?
Yeah, it's me who's biased to FreeAgent. I'm not being paid by them. Yeah, definitely keeping in touch with clients is a really key thing for me. So I have worked at practices before where that everyone's bringing everything in January and you've not seen those clients since last January. Whereas for me, that's not how I work. I'm constantly in touch with my clients. I actually run a networking group with a coach who is a client as well, but all of my clients are in there. So we're constantly in touch, which some accountants might fill you with dread, but it's a good way to keep in touch with clients, and they then feel like they should be providing you with the information beforehand. Also, like I said, most of my clients are on FreeAgent, so I can see how up to date they are, so we can chase them up if they're not explaining transactions or if they just aren't using it. We can see that, so that's another good thing.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the thing about having a software or having processes in place that you have a lot of faith in, is that hopefully the more tricky clients or the late submitters or whatever, they're going to be flagged to you earlier. Is that fair to say, Jenna, as well? Because obviously, Jenna, you work in practice with other people, so those kind of processes must be really important.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to get it right with the clients from kind of day one. We're not kind of expecting to look back at kind of a year's worth of records and, doing lots of tidying then. We want to get it right from the beginning. And therefore, it's really important to us that we provide, really good training and really good processes so that throughout the year, the clients are able to get it right, but also they feel that we're always here for them and they can reach out with any questions that they have. And I think that's fundamental to kind of reducing that stress for them and being prepared.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when we're thinking about those processes, obviously things like AI are so important now, but also just in general in tools that softwares can provide. Is there anything from your point of view, Surya, about what tools are just really useful for practices, or what kind of using software can do to help change their outlook on self-assessment and prepping early?
Yeah, I mean, I think when accountants, everybody is using a software stack as they go along. So you could have something for bookkeeping, you could be using other software for, let's say, producing accounts, self-assessments, corporation tax. But one of the key elements to look into, I'd say, is the flow between the softwares. Just make sure that you're using compatible softwares, like how we have compatibility with FreeAgent, where we can pull in the data into Capium. But on top of that, there is also software provides a lot of automation for accountants. And with that automation, they are able to reduce their repetition when it comes to self-assessments. In Capium, we have forms that clients can fill in. So because I think most individuals are on a sliding scale where they could be very organized or very disorganized, depending on what an accountant is getting. So with our the self-assessment questionnaire and other elements that we have recently developed, we are targeting the ease of use for accountants, because what that's trying to do is to capture all the information, present it on one screen for the accountants to then do the self-assessment. And as we transition towards MTD, I think having good software and automation is key for accountants, because without it, you will be doing a lot of manual work. and every quarterly return that you might have to do would become quite lengthy. So yeah, having software is quite important, and having automations built into that software is quite crucial as well. Yeah.
For sure. And the part about automation, I just so believe, because I do think that, like, obviously I work in integrations, and having practice owners or clients come to us and say, like, just a few months ago, we had someone on LinkedIn saying, like, the integration between FreeAgent and Capium is lovely. It works so well. And those kinds of things are really important to software providers, because you want to feel sure as a practice owner that you have one source of truth for financial data, and that financial data is of top quality, so that you can automate as many of your services as possible. Spend less time, hopefully, like doing checks and entering stuff manually for them. Is that right?
Yeah, that's yeah. So I think with the integrations, I think it just makes it quite easy, because you could check you could just check your trial balances, and it just tells you where you stand, and it's quite easy to pick up from there and then carry on to fill in the self-assessment. So I think I'm sure, like, how you have the flow within the bookkeeping in FreeAgent, you'll see similar flows in as you go into other softwares. Like for example, in Capium, we have flow of data from accounts production till self-assessment, where it's automatically filled in. So stuff like that is quite handy. So yeah.
Nice. And sorry, we've spoken a lot on the tools and the workflows and things. Naturally, that's the kind of stuff that I could talk for days on. But I'm thinking about your practice. So Caroline and Jenna, you probably have slightly different perspectives on this, just because, Caroline, you work more with less other people than Jenna does, just because you're from a slightly larger practice. But what kind of impact do you see on late filing having on a practice like yours? Jenna, we'll kick off with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, obviously there's kind of the upset of having like late penalties and clients kind of feeding back about that, but there's also a massive risk of errors, because obviously our staff are then having to rush through, trying to kind of pull something together last minute, and that is not any good for anybody. So that obviously impacts kind of our team's morale as well as the client, and actually it impacts the workload for all of our business. And firefighting is not anything that anybody really likes to do. So it does have a massive impact, aside from, what it has in terms of penalties and fines.
Definitely. And Caroline, what are your thoughts on that? The impact?
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I've been doing it for 6 years, and every January has been different. But as the business has grown and the client numbers have grown, but this time last year, I looked at all the self-assessments that I needed to do and realised there's no way I can do all that myself. So I got somebody in who she was a qualified accountant just for a month on a temporary basis, and I'd recommend that if you're in a similar position listening to this, to get someone qualified. Obviously, you're paying them more than a junior member of staff, but in January, you're not going to have time to train someone. So we've never had a late filing, which is, I'm crossing my fingers here, but obviously
that's actually very impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I've seen, but it's like I would avoid it at all costs. So, but obviously I've seen people come to me who have got their self-assessments haven't been done for years, and the penalties are quite extortionate. Really, it can get up to 1,300 per self-assessment, regardless of what tax you've got to pay. So yeah, try and avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, like, I know I said I wouldn't talk about it too much, but we're thinking about making tax digital. We're less than 400 days away from making tax digital for self-assessment. And having a habit of filing late for clients, either on their behalf or them filing, like getting all their information in late, is not something you want to continue, obviously, because there's going to be more requirements for submissions as we look ahead to MTD. So what do you think about like setting those expectations? How do you manage setting expectations with clients to make sure that there's, I want to say good behavior, but good habits maybe. How do you handle that approach to things, Caroline?
So educating them with my blogs, or I'm on Instagram quite a lot, which was a bit reluctant to do at first because I didn't really think that anybody cared what an accountant's got to say on Instagram. But a lot of my clients hang out there, so they see regularly me posting about why it's important to file your self-assessment early, keep on top of your accounts, have real-time information. So that's quite a big thing with a lot of clients who come to me. They've only known, like, and I hear it all the time in January, people saying, oh, I'm just waiting to hear from my accountant to see what my tax bill is. But that shouldn't be the case. You should know in advance. I'm going to plug FreeAgent again with the tax timeline, that if your information's up to date, you can see that. So you should have been able to manage your cash up to that point to have the cash there to pay your tax bill. It shouldn't be a surprise. So I'm talking about it all the time with clients, the importance of getting it in early, saving for tax, being on top of things.
And Jenna, what about you? Do you find that there's a way of managing clients' behaviour, getting them into good habits that you feel has really worked for you?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything that Caroline has said. It's all about kind of getting the training right. But I think we do a lot in terms of kind of spinning it from the client's perspective. Clients deserve to know what's going on in the business, and they deserve to be up to date with those numbers. So it's just not good enough kind of getting to the end of January and finding out that there's a tax bill to pay. We also love the FreeAgent tax timeline. It's brilliant. But we also kind of add in an extra service. So in March every year, we go and have a quick poke around the client's accounts, and we do provide kind of a tax estimate for the upcoming 2 years, really, so that there are no surprises, because that is super stressful. But yeah, I totally agree that it's all about kind of getting the processes and habits right from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. And Surya, sorry.
One thing I talk about a lot to clients, and I don't think I can ever talk too much about it because there's always someone who doesn't know, is the payment on account, especially for clients in their first year when their tax bill's a bit higher. If it's the first year in business or the first year, it just gets people every time that they have to pay a bit more in advance. So it's one of my favorite topics.
And Surya, what do you reckon in terms of because obviously, from my account management background, we are dealing with small business owners in a slightly different way, because we're not, we're providing them with the tools to, help them with their accounting, but we're not kind of their, we're not their accountant, of course. So is there anything that you think that we can be doing as software providers to really help our clients have that good behavior and make sure that they're getting things in on time and doing that?
Yeah, I think there's especially what we do at Capium is we provide with documentation, articles, videos, everything else that somebody might need. If you're starting off as an SME, we have a specific service for SMEs in Capium where you could just register as a small business and then set everything up. But I think it's a lot to do is with producing their invoices in time, getting their getting paid on time as well, so they can do credit control and other elements. But I think using the program to its best is one of the key steps, I'd say, to get started and to help your accountant in a way. So I think that's quite a crucial thing. So education, webinars like these are quite helpful to see and learn about the elements that are coming through. And I think especially with, I'll keep saying MTD because it is around the corner. So especially with MTD, I think the whole, everything has to be digitized for MTD. So ahead of that, having your clients, and if you do your own bookkeeping, staying up to date with that is quite crucial. And that is because it's like pretty much similar to VAT, and bigger businesses have to do VAT so far, but individuals have to be as prepared as a bigger business in a way for MTD now that it is happening towards start of next year. But yeah, so I'll say education, help guides, as well as the webinars and other things are quite helpful to have everything right for preparing for preparing your bookkeeping and everything else.
Yeah, for sure, I would agree. And I think as well, you've led me beautifully into my next question, by the way, because the team, for everyone watching, like the team at Capium, they're very similar to the FreeAgent team, really friendly, easy to reach, like lovely team. That's why we've got them on today, and that's why we integrate with them. But I think I always say that like software is the anti-hero of MTD in the nicest way possible. And I think when we're thinking about MTD and thinking about software, you're right, there's a learning curve with this stuff. But what do you think about how can accountants and bookkeepers work closely with their software partners, with their software account managers, to make sure that they're getting the most out of it? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because obviously you're one of the leads in customer success at Capium. So, yeah, any thoughts on like that kind of relationship and how they can work together?
Yeah, I mean, what we do at Capium, and it's funny, we did a webinar on this yesterday about our support and how we support our accountants. So one of the things that we do in Capium is we have a dedicated account manager for every member who signs up to Capium. And what we tend to do is there is the onboarding side for accountants, where we help you move the data across and set everything up in the right way, so you have your right opening balances, and then we do the familiarity, where we train the accountants, staff, set up the program for everybody to use it to its best, and then we have sort of a onboarding sign-up process. But in that takes anywhere between a month to 3 months for accountants. And following that, we do quarterly business reviews where we just evaluate how an accountant is using the program and go from there. But the support, essentially, we are always giving sort of like fact sheets through our emails. We try and do sort of like webinars to keep our accountants in the loop. So whenever we do new feature releases or something similar, we'll always do like tool tips that this is a new feature and how would you use it. So I think something you could have it in two ways. One is through proactive CRM, which we do, and I'm sure FreeAgent is quite similar in that way. And I think another thing is the user friendliness of the tool tips and everything else, which even though if you don't attend a webinar, for example, you should still be able to figure out your way on the app. So I think being user friendly as well as having great support is the way forward. For
sure. And Caroline, your account manager is the lovely Chiara. How do you think that kind of close relationship has helped you with it, like instill the software? Obviously, it seems like you have a really great kind of software strategy. Has that had an impact on it?
Definitely. So Chiara was my second account manager at FreeAgent. I had, can I name the first one? It'll be someone you know. It was Chris Roxburgh.
Oh, he's now at Metal, actually.
Yeah. So we keep in touch. So he was with me from the very beginning when I had 7 clients on my dashboard. And I feel like I've been supported by FreeAgent. I'm supported in the same way now with nearly 300 clients as I was with 7. I just think the support shouldn't be different if you're small, because you could grow, which FreeAgent is really good at. And then, yeah, Chiara, she's brilliant, as you know. She keeps me informed on anything that I need to know, and she also runs regular training sessions for my clients. So we do that together every couple of months, which is just such a brilliant thing for FreeAgent to offer. And that's all just included in my partner thing. I don't know if other accountants know that's available, I'm maybe giving away secrets there, but I'm happy to do that because I think, yeah, if everyone can be supported in the same way I am, it just makes your life a bit easier, and that working relationship's great. So, and also when Kiara was off on maternity leave, I had Natalie, and she was brilliant as well. So I think it's just the FreeAgent, the friendly support team in FreeAgent rather than anyone specifically. So if you are a partner already, get in touch with your account manager, or if you're not, then get in touch with FreeAgent because they're brilliant at it.
For sure, that's one of the main things, working closely. And Jenna, Pillowmay are at that bigger scale of things, you know, where you're not like a small practice really. And how do you find that? Obviously, I know it's not just FreeAgent that you use, but how do you find that working with software providers? Is there any like advice to get the most out of that relationship that you can give to other accountants?
Yeah, I think specifically with FreeAgent, it's just so easy. The account management is just phenomenal, but also your support system is incredible. I know that if I have a question, I'm going to get a response that day, probably sooner, to be honest. And it's just phenomenal. And we don't see that across kind of other platforms that we use and softwares that we use. Fantastic. And we kind of experienced a little bit similar to Caroline, where we were expecting to take on a large chunk of sole traders, and Dave really kindly offered to do some training with them, and we were going to do it kind of jointly, and it was just so supportive. And I don't think anywhere else levels of support that FreeAgent does. And that also then filters down to our clients' perspective because it's just so easy for them too.
For sure. Nice.
So Jenna, do you, I'm just interested because I do promote the knowledge base and the support at FreeAgent to my clients for them to get in touch directly. Like FreeAgent is an extension of my team, and a lot of my clients have really liked that because they feel like they don't have to ask us and they can find it out themselves. And I'm a big advocate for them doing a lot themselves so that then I can provide them with help with the strategy rather than doing the little, what should I explain this as, or...
Absolutely. No, we definitely use it in the same way.
Yeah, good.
Love that. Yeah, and I think as well, like, that's the other thing is that I always say this, and hopefully, like, everyone who's attending believes this, because obviously we've got Capium on today, but like, I always think that this is not just an expectation that I feel you should have for FreeAgent, which, by the way, you should. I really like love our product, love our team, and I think you should expect a lot from us because that's part of our ethos. But it's not just us. You should be able to go out to all the softwares that you use, know who your account manager is, be able to pick up the phone and talk to them. Ideally, you know, I know that people are busy, but hopefully, and know who that is and get a response. So if you're sitting here watching this webinar thinking, oh, I have this software and I don't know who my account manager is, go and ask them. Like, I just think that there's so much value in being able to have that close relationship for us with our accounting and bookkeeping partners. So yeah, if you're ever sitting there thinking I don't have that relationship, your software provider totally owes you. And for me, I know that obviously we have competitors in the software space, but really for us, like, when your business does well, that is when we do well. And FreeAgent is a great product. It won't be perfect for everyone, and that's absolutely fine with us. We're not expecting you to necessarily be a FreeAgent only practice, but what we would encourage you to do is just consider where it might be a good fit for your clients. So yeah, I just wanted to add, like, having a close relationship with software providers is something that I really champion. So however, we've done a lot of talking. I'm gonna just skip to a poll just to give us a little bit of an idea. Make sure you're all still awake at home if you're tuning in. So just a quick one, what are the biggest challenges you face in the lead up to self-assessment? Is it chasing clients for information, dealing with HMRC? You can scroll down on this poll, by the way. Getting other work done so you can focus on self-assessment, getting the right technology and systems implemented, working long hours, or other, and you can let us know. I think the one that I personally see as one of the most challenging ones is getting the right information from clients, chasing them for information. And that's it's partly what you said earlier, Surya, is that like getting paid on time, all of those just admin bits really, really add up. So I think that's the one that we see the most of here at FreeAgent. But yeah, it would be good to see what you guys think.
For me, it's definitely B.
Is
and a bit of C.
Yeah, and I think that's the tough thing as well, isn't it? Is like, yeah, HMRC are probably not everyone's favourite governing body, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead to the poll results now. Let's see. Chasing clients for information, winning by a landslide there. Yeah, what do you think, Jenna? Is there anything in particular that you think is the biggest challenge that your practice faces in the lead up to self-assessment?
I think before I would have agreed that chasing clients for information was a massive one. We've recently just put a piece of software in called Content Snare, and it's absolutely brilliant. It has changed everything for us. So our clients can kind of update their information as they go along. We're not sending out like Word checklists and things that are really, really generic. You can customize it to each client, but it has totally changed everything for us. And we're even able to kind of comment on things as they go. So if the client doesn't understand a question, they can ask us on the software, and then we can go back to them. So I think before it definitely would have been that, but now with Content Snare in place, it's just completely changed everything.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the things, isn't it? It's not just about your bookkeeping software, but it's like Surya was mentioning earlier, but it's about your whole tech stack and how does that enable you to do other things? Because we've recently released integrations with a host of people, but one of them was Expert, and they're like a practice management software. Really, really intuitive, and you as a practice you can almost use it as a contact tool, so that you can kind of communicate within the practice, which I really like. And I think it's always tough because we talk about tech stacks a lot, and when you're starting out in practice, what I saw a lot of was partners saying, I want to just take on every client that I can, and so they end up with a lot of softwares, a lot of clients, and no niche, and so it's sometimes hard to get out of that. Surya, do you have any thoughts on the third one down there, the getting other work done so I can focus on self-assessment? What are your thoughts on the way software can enable you to do that?
So we have we do sort of like an all-in-one platform. So what we could do in that is we have payroll automations built in, where you could automate your static payroll, as I'd like to say, single director companies with relatively less movement in their payroll. And with that, there is also automations built into our practice management system, and I think in other product areas as well. So I think when you have automation in place, and when you can bring this data in and review it in bulk, it's easier for you to then focus on the tasks that you're doing. And in our practice management suite, we also have an automatic chasing system, which would essentially chase people until every document is received, and the users can then manually turn it off. So it keeps reminding the clients to send the documents and everything else, and then somebody reviews and closes things down. But yeah, so I think the more automation and the more unified your stack is, it's easier for you to then focus on the actual compliance and advisory bits. So what accountants should be focusing on is advisory in the long run, because I think that's where things are headed anyways. But yeah, so I think a unified stack that communicates with each other is a big step for accountants.
Yeah, I love that. And Caroline, HMRC, tell me about it. So obviously, the topic of today is prep early, stress less. What impact do you? What am I trying to say? How can you mitigate the issues with HMRC so that you can prep early and stress less?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've learned over the years is to make sure in advance that we've got access to all clients on HMRC, so we can actually do their self-assessment. You don't want to be in January realizing that you've got all the information, but you can't actually file the self-assessment because you've not got your agent access. So that's one thing that you can control.
Scotland, we call that all the gear and the idea. So
yeah. Because the problem that I find, and other accountants who I speak to find, is that it's the one thing that you can't control what HMRC are going to do. So, and I don't like feeling out of control. So again, getting them done as early as possible. Don't leave 100 tax returns until the 30th of January because there might be an issue with one or more of them. I've had a couple recently that we filed through FreeAgent, and I've filed all my self-assessments through FreeAgent. So it's not that it's a FreeAgent thing, it's a HMRC. And they've just failed to accept them, but not told us. So then when we've gone on, the tax amount due is not right for the client, and we've noticed it, and we've had to speak to them. Unfortunately, you've got to ring up and speak to them and wait on the waiting lines. Yeah. And then they've just pushed it through, and they can't see the problem, and they've just... So don't leave it till the last minute, because there will inevitably be some calls that you have to make.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, so this webinar is our first in a series of 3 webinars. So we've got one next month and one the month after. And I believe next month is our self-assessment pricing webinar. Highly encourage everyone to go to that, because I think you can also think about what pricing structures can you have to incentivize clients to get their information in early. But like you said, Surya, it's a lot about automation, isn't it? And getting that content in, because like you say, Caroline, you're not going to be able to mitigate absolutely everything. So yeah, totally makes sense. And Jenna, I can see a few people were asking what that software was that we were talking about. Content Snare, is that the one?
Yeah, Content Snare.
Nice one. Cool. So guys, we're coming up to like, not quite time, but just probably a final one to leave us on. I know when I asked you guys this before today, you said there was too many to mention, but what is a kind of common mistake that we see new businesses or new practices doing when it comes to their finances? And like, what's, I guess, quite a generic question, but what can we do to prevent that, or what can we do to help them not make those mistakes that you may make early on in business? And Caroline, I'll come to you first, if you don't mind.
So a really common one, which I was actually surprised about for sole traders specifically, is that they will, and they do it in software as well. So it's not like it's just a spreadsheet issue. It's across the board, putting their own salary as an expense, and then obviously then their profits look much lower, and then they're not paying tax. So yeah, make sure you check in that they're not putting the net salary expense in when it should be drawings. Because
that was interesting. I didn't expect you to say that. That is, I guess you don't know until you know.
That's my common one that I see from clients who've been doing the self-assessment themselves for years, and then I take it over. It's not a popular one.
Yeah. Surya, what about you? Is there any kind of common mistakes that you see from a software perspective for new business owners or new people in practice? And what can we do to help them mitigate those mistakes?
I think with individuals, we notice that sometimes, as Caroline was saying earlier, it's just not populated properly, the whole form, the SA 100. So if you are new to something, you could seek advice, or just think there's plenty of resources available on YouTube as well, where you could know how to fill in these forms. So yeah, I think some of those are quite, there are plenty of mistakes that they can do there. In terms of accountants, I'd say for newer businesses, it tends to be when you are taking up new clients, sometimes you don't quite understand the complexity of those clients. So I think we've seen, especially with fixed fees, sometimes you could get into a new client who is ultra complicated, but and there is no profitability left in it after the job's done. So yeah, so I'd say those are the two things, one for each, I guess. But yeah.
Nice. And Jenna, what about you? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think kind of in general, it's not having like an open flow of communication between us and the clients. And it's really, really important to us that our clients are able and feel like they can ask us questions throughout the year, because we would much, much rather get it right now than get to the end of the year and kind of find things like Caroline has said, that aren't quite right, and then therefore all of the projections that they've been looking at on FreeAgent are complete nonsense. So we would much rather that our clients do have a really good flow of communication with us.
100%, and that goes for software providers as well. An open flow of communication is always really important. So nice one, thank you guys. Like I say, we're about to end this live panel section of the webinar, but we do have more in this series coming up, and I really would encourage attendees to think about registering for those, because there's going to be more information on self-assessment. It's a shame we've only got like 45 minutes an hour today, because actually there's so much you can go into with self-assessment. It really shows the expertise of the accountants and software providers, that there's so much we can talk about, so much advice we can give. So the conversation definitely doesn't end here. Please reach out and chat. Cool. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually say goodbye to our panelists for now. Appreciate your time so much. It's been really lovely to have all three of you on. I feel like I've spoken a lot, actually, which I really shouldn't have. But it's just nice when there's a lot to go on in a conversation, and lots of advice for our clients. I'm just going to have a quick check of the chat box to see if there's anything for our partners. Don't think there is in particular, but yeah, it's been lovely to have you all on today, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. So while our lovely panelists are just going off in the background, I'm just going to publish a quick poll. So asked this before, but like I say, if you would like for us to get in touch about becoming a FreeAgent partner, then please do. Please go ahead and let us know. Just by clicking yes, please, then that'd be great. We would love to get in touch with you and just chat to you a little bit more about the software and that kind of thing. Please do stick around if you want to see the demo, though. I'm about to go into a demo shortly. So if you want to see what FreeAgent looks like in practice, then that would be great.
Sorry, Jen, we have had a question come in. It's more about round training on FreeAgent.
Oh, okay.
Claire's asked, do we offer any training on FreeAgent and how to do things right and get set up?
Bet Ben is happy that we've asked this question.
I know, it's my team that do it. Yes, we do, Claire. All you need to do is get in touch with your account manager. If you don't, then just press yes on that poll, and we will be able to set you up and get you all started and get you all the training that you need, from being completely new to FreeAgent and not knowing your fingers from your elbows to going really in depth and taking you through like all the advanced stages and everything that you can do. So yes, there's lots of different training that we can offer.
Nice one. Got a few questions about just CPD points, and if we've got if we'll have an email confirming that you've attended the webinar. Yes, you'll get emailed a CPD certificate, so not to worry about that. You will be getting that through. I'll just let that poll run for another couple of minutes. But we're going to go into a demo. Like I say, if you've seen FreeAgent before and you don't want to stick around for the demo, that's fine. I won't be too offended. But if you would like to stick around for the demo and see what that looks like, then please do. Before anyone else jumps off, you can go ahead and scan this QR code on your screen here if you would like to join our accountant and bookkeeper community. It's run by ProNation, a group of kind of accounting experts, essentially. Lucy Cohen, Will Farnell, and Martin Bissett. It's a Facebook community. It's open for FreeAgent partners who are level bronze and above, and we would love to see you there. They host a call every week. I'm not sure if it is every week, but there's lots of discussion in there. We like to just keep you all informed about what's going on and that kind of thing as well.
Every month, Jem.
Every month. There you go.
Every month, and it's everyone's proactive. They also put like chat threads in there, like with questions and all of that. Also, there's a couple of FreeAgent technical experts in there as well, so people will ask questions around FreeAgent and how to do things, and other people in the community will jump in and help and all of that. And it's a really nice place to be.
Exactly. God, Ben, it's a good thing you're here because I would just be a bit of a mess if not, essentially. Cool, so you can go ahead and scan that and there will be another opportunity to answer the poll at the end. If you've missed the poll, don't worry. I'm just going to go into the demo now because I'm just aware we're slightly tight for time. Not going to take too long on this though, so don't panic. Let's see, let me just share my screen. Oops, here we go. Cool. So hopefully you can all see my screen now. I'm hoping. If I don't hear anything from someone in the background, then I'll assume you can. So I'm just going to return to our dashboard for now to show you guys. Oh, here we go. Oh my goodness, why is this not working? Here we go. So this is our FreeAgent practice dashboard. You know you're in the practice dashboard because it's got the lovely green banner at the top. And this is where we can manage all of our clients centrally at FreeAgent. So as you can see, I've got all my clients here. At the top, we can go into a few more kind of details. We've got our practice portal here, and that's going to take you to all of our partner resources. It's where you'll find recordings of webinars like this one, all those lovely resources like blogs and knowledge base articles that Surya mentioned earlier, and we have all those kind of things as well. It's also where you can do your learning and accreditation so that you can become an accredited FreeAgent partner. And those exams are worth CPT points too. So I'm not going to go into too much detail today on the practice side of things, but if you would like a demo of the product, then there will be a poll after this demo, and you can we can reach out and get you in touch so that you can see a bit more of the practice side of things. For now, I'm just going to go to the bottom of my screen and I'm going to switch into this client here at the bottom. So we know that we're in the client side of things now because we've got that lovely blue banner at the top. So one of the things that was mentioned earlier by, I believe, Caroline, was the tax timeline. So this is something that I believe is unique to FreeAgent. So we've got our little mini P&L on the overview page here, and then our tax timeline as well. This is just going to give your clients a little bit more autonomy over their finances, gives them some information about when they've got important dates in terms of their tax coming up, what's due and what's been paid. Really lovely feature here that we've got. And you've got some kind of previews of your cash flow and things like that as well. Today, what I'm going to show you is I'm just going to go into our banking section. So at the top here, I'm going to go into banking and then bank accounts. Now, FreeAgent is kind of quite forward thinking in terms of product and AI. All of our engineers work in-house and we're only UK based. And part of the reason why I feel that we're so good at what we do for small businesses is because that is all we do. We focus on small businesses and we intend to do it really well. Even when it comes to our wider ecosystem of integrations, we don't aim to have an app store of thousands of partners. We carefully curate that so that we can feel we're suggesting softwares with confidence to our partners. So because of that, we're able to deliver really forward-thinking tools in terms of AI. So FreeAgent have had AI in the product for many years, pretty much since its inception. And if we're going to the current bank account here, then you can see what that looks like. So we have something called guest rules, which is going to look at transactions that are automatically pulled in via a bank feed. And it's going to see what you've categorized those transactions as before, as well as what other people categorize those transactions as typically within the software. It will then match those transactions to categories with a very high accuracy rate, over 90%, and it's going to be able to do that on your behalf. This is totally customizable, so you absolutely can change it. If we go up to more and then guest rules, then we can do things like exclude some transactions and turn certain things on or off in case you don't want to have that automation in your bank. But like Surya was saying earlier, that automation is something that can really elevate your practice and it can really ensure that you've got excellent financial data so that you can make sure that clients are able to submit on time. You can focus on the things you love about your job, not doing data entry, hopefully not even chasing for bank feeds too much, because we have recently released a feature that enables accountants and bookkeepers to approve bank feeds on behalf of their clients, because there is that 90-day approval that they need to do when they have an open bank feed set up. FreeAgent is a lovely software to use. It's very friendly in terms of the terms it uses. So, for example, rather than credit and debit, we've got money in, money out, just to make things nice and simple, easy for your client to understand, while being sophisticated enough that it's going to be hard for anyone to break. And I think that's all I'll show you today. Gives you a little flavour of FreeAgent, a little bit of an idea of how it all works. Hopefully it doesn't look too alien to you. We've tried to make it really intuitive, and I feel we've really succeeded with that. But that gives you an idea of how the software works. Like I say, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen for now. But if you would like us to get in touch, and we can show you around the dashboard in a little bit more detail, get you a free trial, get you chatting to one of our account managers so we can figure out if it's right for you and your clients, then go ahead and answer the poll just now, and we will be happy to get in touch and take you through all of that. I'm just going to have a quick scan of the questions now. A couple of people saying thank you, you're absolutely more than welcome. Let's have a wee look. Just make sure there's nothing else come in. Yes, so I can see one of my colleagues has just put in the links to our upcoming events. Definitely recommend that you sign up for our next one in October. That is going to be about self-assessment. I believe it's about pricing. So please do sign up. I think it'll be really beneficial. We've got one of our integration partners coming, as well as another FreeAgent practice partner. So that should be great. And I think that's us. We're about 4 minutes ahead of time, luckily, so you can get a little 4 minutes back. Gives you time to grab a cup of tea or coffee before your next meeting. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really great. Thank you also to our guests we had presenting with me. Really lovely to have such engaged people on these webinars. And I'm just going to leave that poll up actually for another minute or so. And thank you so much. That's us. Cheers.